Hello, my name is Kara Johnson. I'm here at Caffrey Class Network, otherwise known as CCN. Today I will be covering the effects of violent video games on children. Article I will be covering today is experimental study on the differential effects of playing versus watching violent video games on children's aggressive behavior. So for starters, this explores the impact of violent video games on aggressive children. It investigates whether active participation, which means playing, in violent video games result in greater aggressive behavior compared to passive observation, which is watching. For the method, the study used a randomized blocks 3-group design with children ages 10 to 13 from 2 Dutch schools. Participants were assigned to one of the 3 conditions: playing a violent video game, watching a violent video game, or playing a non-violent video game. Aggression was measured through peer nominations through free play sessions. For the results, the study found that boys who played violent video games exhibited more aggression than those who watched, but this effect was short-lived. No significant aggression differences were found in girls across conditions. So all in all, the study suggests that while playing violent video games may temporarily increase aggression in boys, the effect diminishes over time. It also emphasizes the importance of peer evaluations in understanding real-life aggression. Hello, today I'm at the Haunted College at IRC here to interview a couple of people, here to interview the community about their thoughts on the effects of violent video games on children.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Aguilera and I'm a student at IRC.
Do you believe that there are any effects on violent video games on children? Why or why not?
More violent ideas when playing with each other, but I don't think that it's a long-term effect. I think that it's definitely something that can maybe have effects on how they play, on how children play with each other, but maybe not on how they grow to be and how the actions they take later in life.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
So, hello, your name is?
Malachi Brown.
Okay, so Malachi, do you believe that there are any effects on violent video games onto children? Yes, why or why not?
Not really. No, not really. It only depends, if the child basically grows up, in a very not so good environment. Depends, if the parents, raise them right or something. If they're not supervised and all that, then maybe. But normally, no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your name is?
I'm Brooke, and we're at the
Haunted College at IRC.
yes.
So, Brooke, I have a question for you. Do you believe that there are any effects of violent video games on children? Elaborate on that.
So I believe there's a ton of effects of violent video games on children, especially depending on who your parents are and what way you grow up. If you're around people that are also violent, you're going to believe that that's the correct way to live. See these video games, you believe they're real, or if you constantly are surrounding yourself with these things, then that's going to rub off on how you think and the way you act. Especially from a young age. It depends, there's a lot of people who will let their kids play violent video games starting at a super young age, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Your name is?
Tara.
Tara. Okay, Tara, do you believe that there are any effects on violent video games on children? Elaborate why or why not.
I do believe yes, especially kids who play video games 24/7. I do believe it messes with their mind. I really do believe that it can make a kid do bad things.
Yeah. You have experience with that?
Not with my kids, but I know a few of my friends' kids who have been extremely violent with things. And, they kind of take the video games away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Sonia and today we'll be discussing the article Violent Video Game Effects on Aggression, Empathy, and Prosocial Behavior in Children by Anderson and Dill. This adds a longer-term perspective to the discussion of violent video games and aggression. This study explores the long-term effects of violent video games exposure on children's aggression, empathy, and prosocial behavior, and it suggests that repeated exposure to violent content could lead to lasting behavioral changes. The study followed a longitudinal design tracking children's video game habits and behaviors over time. Cognitive and emotional mediators such as desensitization and reduced empathy were also examined. Children who played violent video games showed higher levels of aggression and lower levels of empathy over time. Boys were more affected than girls, supporting previous findings of gender differences. The study highlights that long-term exposure to violent video games can have more persistent effects on behavior compared to short-term exposure. It also identifies cognitive and emotional mediators such as desensitization, which might explain why violent video games increase aggression.
So, what do you guys think about violent video games, how it affects the human mind, like positively, negatively?
I think it's like, I mean, if you're not like super young, then it's fine, but like, if you're like older, like 16, then it's fine.
Yeah. So it's the age, though.
Yeah, I think it's the age difference.
Okay, so like if you're old enough, it's more of a positive kind of.
Yeah, it's not gonna be as bad.
Okay.
You're not,
Split, or it could possibly like influence actual behavior.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like it depends on the individual.
So mixed review kind of depends on like the age range and all that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, man.
Of course.
Have a good one, man. Thank you for your time.
Is that what you're getting for an answer mostly?
Yes, ma'am. Pretty much.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I don't. I just think the kids are just like immune to it. Like
Yeah.
they just have so much of it.
It takes the sensitivity of it. Right?
They're desensitized.
Thank you.
The original study demonstrates that playing violent video games can temporarily increase aggression in boys, but this effect is not long-lasting. Anderson and Dill's longitudinal study expands the discussion by showing that repeated exposure to violent video games can lead to more enduring behavioral changes, such as increased aggression and reduced empathy. Both studies highlight the role of gender, suggesting that boys are more affected by violent content in video games. Together, these findings emphasize the need to consider both immediate and long-term effects when assessing the impact of violent media on children's behavior.
They said that it supported their hypothesis, which is that children who do a lot of video games that have violence do self-report more aggression.
Like me, these games really don't have much effect. Like, I'm just pretty much playing for the thrill of it.
The study is worrisome. I know kids want excitement, they want adrenaline, but if it does actually kind of increase their violent behavior, then that's something that you probably can't tolerate as a parent.
I think that violence in a child's life, whether it's violence from video games or violence from television or violence in their community that they see and not feeling safe, all affect a child. And I don't think we can just say it's one thing.
Like kids who are having like bigger problems in their life and then they go home and like they play these kinds of games, it doesn't help.
You know, there's always the chicken and the egg. So it's, do the video games cause kids to be violent? Or do kids who are aggressive tend to like violent video games?
My teenage kids are playing violent video games. I think they play them in the proper proportion. They're not playing them for hours and hours at a time, but they do play them. So I think you have to worry about that to some extent.
Well, I think it really is for parents to, number one, know what your kids are doing, know who your children's friends are, listen to the lyrics of the music that they listen to, and then you decide if that's okay for you.